Alrighty, folks, and we are live for Bird Dog Chat with Ethan and Kat
and Charles.
You kind of stole my thunder. Charlie is back from the Dakotas and life events, and we are here this evening with everyone. We wanted to kind of test things out a bit because this will be part of the 4-person podcast setup. Now, you can see the little extra. This little microphone stand here could have another person. The extra cameras pull out just a tish.
Annie refused this evening, though.
Yeah, which I did invite her, and she was like,
nope.
Nah, not for me. I said, okay. So, welcome, everybody. This is the Bird Dog Chat. We want to say thank you to sponsors. Some of the biggest supporters would be patrons. If you're not familiar, patreon.com/Standing Stone Kennels allows you to support at different tiers. And up until today, was how you play Bird Dog Chat Bingo, okay? You can get your card. There's always a link there. The link doesn't change, which I may need to do that now so people that drop out and just use the same old link. But you can also get the link now. Quote-unquote memberships is a thing via YouTube. So if you are a YouTuber and don't want to leave the platform, you can become a member for $5 a month. It's called Team Standing Stone. I will pull that link. I think I text it to you so that I would be able to find it later. That's a bad place to text it to.
Yeah, you should never text it to me because we text
too much. You can find it and pull up because you should be able to sign up membership. It's just $5. Team Standing Stone. You get the link so that you can win. This evening's prize for the live is a spring train in because of what we are talking about this evening, a spring training
package,
which is going to have a collection of things that you need to train dogs in the spring. Things like bumpers,
check cords,
easy leads, potentially bird bags, maybe a hat because you can't train bird dogs without a hat.
Yeah.
You got to protect yourself from the sun.
Yes.
Maybe a shirt. We never know.
It'll be a collection of fun stuff
that you don't want to miss an opportunity to win. So get your bingo card, and the bingo is all the crazy idiosyncrasies that Ethan and I do.
Absolutely.
Mark your card.
So this evening, we will be talking about spring training plans, how to kind of prepare things, how we prepare things. And we've got Charles here this evening. When he is here, he'll be able to actually be on camera now. Fun.
Woohoo!
Also,
less button pushing.
Yeah, I've got the buttons to push over
He gets the buttons, but there is a dongle over there. It just means you have to upgrade your phone so you can use it, apparently.
Never. I'll just bring my dongle.
Yeah, you can do that. There's also a HDMI cable that's supposed to plug in the side of my computer in case we need to show that. But
would you like that plugged in?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's risk the whole stream right at the beginning.
No, it's not going to risk anything. Come on.
Risk it for the biscuit. If you guys are new to tuning in to our Bird Dog Chat Bingo or Bird Dog Chat Lives, we do a few things, which I'm going to roll into check-ins here pretty quick. And then we have a topic of conversation. And if you have a question, we're going to get to those at the end of the live. But if there's one that's burning a hole in your pocket, you can throw a super chat up there and we give those priority. So without further ado, let's go ahead and see where people are from. I got to get a little closer to the computer here because Ethan said I can read. He just didn't mention that I have poor vision. So I got to get closer. Sorry, let me not knock your drink over, Charles.
Let's see.
We got Aaron from Minnesota. Thanks for tuning in. Brad from Georgia. We got Turbo here right now.
Turby.
Yep. Mark from New York. You're going to be here pretty soon for the seminar. I know you're signed up. Tina, you're going to be here from the seminar too. Parachute, Colorado. Annie from Pretty Prairie, literally in the room with us tonight.
In the house.
Elijah, Southern California. We've got Boise, Idaho. Renee with Reese. I saw your text message. It was really long, and I wasn't going to read it while driving, so I will read that after the live and get back to you. I promise. Paul Warren from Indiana. We've got West Virginia. Where else? Indiana. We've got Iowa and Southwest Iowa. Very specific. Detroit, Michigan here. Southern Illinois. We've got South Carolina with Rip. That's awesome. And Arkansas, Otsego, Minnesota. And also, so far, no international check-ins. Wah, wah, wah. I'm sure someone will tune in soon, though. But
Ohio.
that's definitely not international.
I know somebody just checked in.
And Massachusetts and
Might as well be
Westminster,
international.
Colorado, Minneapolis, Minnesota. So I'll try and keep up with some of
see-
those check-ins as we go along. But
I couldn't find a membership link either.
That's weird that it doesn't show up because it's definitely set up. And it's like, hey, you don't have any.
if anyone figures out how to find the membership portion, let
I've
us
got
know.
the link. I just don't know how you find it on YouTube. So here's the link if you want to join memberships there. I'll pin that bad boy.
And that's to be able to
Brother.
join through
That's
YouTube.
memberships on YouTube, yeah. So you don't have to have a Patreon membership now at this point. You can do it on
Through
YouTube.
YouTube.
$5. It's the only tier. So, because the next thing, the kind of fun, you made it through some check-ins. Most of the people that
Most
are here.
of the check-ins, yep.
Good. Some fun announcements. You mentioned people coming to the seminar. You want to go ahead and talk about when and what
Yes.
the seminar is?
So we have our Lone Stone seminar May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. There are still, I think, 1 or 2 spots left. We have the opportunity this year to have so many professional trainers here to help support this because we've got Ethan and Bob, which is what people are coming for, the fun camaraderie. But I'll be there, Charles will be there, Jessica will be there, Tessa will be there. So we have many other professional trainers that are going to be able to help answer questions, help guide you. We'll break into small groups. We'll be able to help you individually. It's going to be an awesome opportunity for people that want to work with their dog or just come without their dog and learn a lot. And that is, like I said, May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. It is a Friday evening meet and greet. And then all day Saturday, all day Sunday, we will be training and answering questions and working with you and your dog. So it's a really great opportunity. Every year it goes back and forth. So this year it's in Kansas. Next year it'll be back out in New York with Bob. So don't miss your opportunity to come out to Standing Stone Kennels here and join us for that seminar. We also have our Kansas chapter Novda Spring test here the very end of April. It's also
2
the same
weeks.
weekend as our puppy send home, so it's going to be crazy around here. But we'll make it work. We've got a lot of dogs running. Charles, you want to talk to us a little bit about the dogs that you've got entered and the dogs that are entered?
I have East for sure. And then from there, it's a who's ever ready, basically. Luckily, Annie is the test secretary, so I get the privilege of
Swapping out.
deciding as I want. Right now, it is Vale, then followed by Taylor. And
Which
then,
Taylor's already run, and she's a prize 3 dog.
Yep.
So
So she just had a weird day at Duck Search. It was really odd. And then Hazel is if neither one of those are ready.
she's the alternate to the alternate.
Well, she literally just walked away too far on her remain. So she was this close. We are focusing on Master Hunter, so I really don't want her to think she
Switch
can just
drives
go
right now in the
wander
middle.
around and look for birds and chase them. So I'm going to make that decision next week.
Well, Hazel is also running this coming weekend
Right.
at a Master Hunter test out in Illinois, and it's a double-double this coming weekend, right?
Yep.
So she'll have 4 opportunities. She needs 2 passes, so hopefully she can go 50%, finish up Masters, put that in the bag, put it on her pedigree, her title, and then be able to move on to, she also has a utility prize 2 title already, so
Yep.
we're just trying to move her up one.
Yeah, and
one prize.
Vale was very, very close, but wasn't quite there in Texas, and she's kind of in the same boat now. So if I can find a test to run her in, then that's what I'll do. But if she's ready, then we'll run her. And then Turbo is running.
Yep. Brad's on here tonight. So Turbo's entered in our test for utility. And then once he gets that prize, he's moving on to Jess handling him through some master tests in May. And hopefully, if there's some more tests listed
Yep.
in June June.
And then to round out utility is the one, the only.
I know Ethan
Thunderbutt.
mentioned earlier, he's like, you stole my thunder when I started reading out announcements and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not the
Who
only
else
one who's going to
stole my
steal your
thunder?
thunder. Jess is stealing thunder for his utility test.
It's Jess's turn to handle thunder. So I think Jess will be a good balance between the ultimate fun party duck guy and the ultimate, if you move, I will make you regret it guy. And he looked really good today. So I think Jess it'll be good for him to handle. He definitely is a little bit too much of a friend of mine. So
yeah, we saw that when we were trying to do Quest's breeding here just a little bit ago. We had Quest all prime time, ready to go. Thunder comes in to do the breeding. Charles walks through the door, and all Thunder can think about is, we're training. We're going somewhere fun. I can't think about anything else. I'm like, Charles, get out of here. We got to get the breeding done.
I had to hide from Thunder because he wanted to go to work.
Hold on 1 second. It said bingo card not working on Patreon, or not working. The bingo link's not working. Is it not on Patreon? Well, I just posted it. You have to be a paid member, so you may not be a paid member. I'm not checking that. I don't know. I even see who commented, but it is. I just posted a brand new link. It's there. If you're a paid member, it should show up. It's a very exciting post. It says bingo.
There's a link.
And then there's a link. So it is the same link as below, but the link below was kind of hidden under the beautiful picture of the knife that was given away, knife that was given away last time. So,
and there's a bunch of puppies running.
Continue on.
Yeah, a bunch of puppies are running. We've got Lark and Megs, and we've got Riot and Quinn. We've got Boo running. I think that might be it from...
The test secretary says yes, that's it.
We're getting confirmation. I'm like, yes, okay. She's like, I've got the list, so, and the running order. And she sent the running order over, and I quickly glanced through it really quick just before the live started, so... any other big announcements coming up that you can think of? I think those are the main two, is just hunt tests and the seminar for the near future. And, of course...
And I'm sorry, I was focusing. You gave the dates and information on the seminar.
Yes. And and I didn't say where you can sign up, but standingstonesupply.com.
Yes.
Just get there. You search seminars. It should show up on the front page as well, but that'll get you the sign-up place, and you can sign up for yourself. You and a dog, you and another dog, you and a friend, whatever. There's lots of options.
Yeah, the biggest confusion or misunderstanding is, what do we cover in the seminar? Well, the cool thing about it is there are 5 pro trainers there. So the dog to pro ratio is extremely low, and we work on whatever your dog needs, anywhere from a brand new puppy that's never seen a bird to a dog that is finished and running at the Invitational this year. One of the attendees has one of that as well. So it's everything from top to bottom, and you'll have the ability to work your dog basically as much as they can. So it's more based on what the dog can handle. And on top of that, you get to watch, again, everything from a puppy to a finished dog work. So you get to see and learn a lot of other things that are going on. The only other announcement I had is hunting opportunities. We've had a lot of people reach out, and typically I take whole groups because that's what we've had, but I do have a slot. The dates are still available. One's pending, but the dates are still available online. If you go to standingstonekennels.com, and there's a guiding tab now. It's a full page that gives the brief introductions to what is available. A grouse hunting slot. Typically 4 to 5 people fill that. It is broken down. If you want to come by yourself and pay for the full group and have a party with me, that would be also doable. So anything is possible.
Throw me in your group, please.
Yeah, just call Charles. He said he'll tag in. That's the end of September. Grouse numbers are ridiculous, and we are talking sharp-tail and prairie chicken in the state of South Dakota. Not the king of upland birds. I say that hoity-toity style, but ruffed grouse, we are not hunting. Prairie grouse. I am a prairie rambler. I traverse the prairie. There's also a pheasant slot as well. I have a bunch of people, like a huge list right now of 2s and 3s that just want to come. So if you are short a couple, we can fill the rest of the group. It has a little page in there that gets you select. I can bring a couple. I need a couple. I have a full group, whatever. So if you're interested at all in hunting, pheasant numbers also have been fantastic. These guys at the property near Gettysburg, South Dakota, shot a 15-man limit. If you like to watch the flush, they brought those guys out and hunted. I don't know when it will air, but they hunted in the first week in December and shot a 15-man limit. So
That's good.
Also,
30 days in, pretty sweet.
Also good bird numbers. You know, you hit those magical moments where you get a little snow, which is what I believe they did. Packs them into a cattail pocket, and they shot well. So it's a pretty cool place and lots of fun opportunities for the field. Yes, you can bring your dog. Number one question to ask. Yes, please bring your dog. That's it.
Ethan's will be tired.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
They get to hunt a lot.
I think that is now all of the announcements that we had for this evening. So to get into the nitty-gritty of tonight's topic of discussion, we're talking about spring training and why it's important to have a plan. And not just spring training, but training in general.
Yep. So whether you have a puppy or finished dogs, it is important to have a plan and a direction. But the biggest thing that I want to say right off the bat is that timelines are your worst enemy. So you need to have a direction, and you need to have a plan, and you need to have a lot of times people can benefit from support in the direction in which your plan is going, being able to bounce ideas off of us. That's what we're set up through Patreon, or you can just reach out and we can set up video consults. We can do those things. But if you have a timeline, meaning the test is April 25th and 26th, I have to get my dog ready by that. Even as professionals, you hear, like, we do have a little bit of a luxury of having some flexibility with who's running, but you haven't applied timelines to these dogs. You have to be here and you have to be ready. And it is important. You know, right now we're talking about testing, and testing may not be your goals, but it is important in the testing side of things for the dogs to be as prepared as possible. Anything can happen, but as prepared as possible, going to an event saying,
Let's see what happens.
Isn't the world's greatest idea. Going with, I feel like I've got a really good chance of them doing all of the pieces. I've seen all of the pieces in training. That's a much better approach to things not falling apart and then making testing difficult. Now, as far as hunting goes, you kind of have a timeline-ish, but you also have the ability to set realistic expectations. Yeah, we're hunting, and on top of all of that, you do have the e-collar still to make corrections as you go where you don't from a testing standpoint. So
and ultimately, whether you're testing or hunting, if your dog's not ready, don't go. Whether you've paid your test entries, whether you've bought your hunting license, whatever, if your dog's not ready, it's okay to pull them from a test and say, I'm sorry, my dog wasn't ready. I'm going to pull them. And if you pull them too late, in a lot of situations, you're going to have to forfeit your test entry. But ultimately, creating a test smart dog or a bad situation, or in a hunting scenario, a dog that, you know, really isn't prepared, they might have some hesitation around gunfire. It's not a great idea to take them hunting in that situation. You can go yourself and then continue working towards those end goals with your dog. And when they are ready, take them with you. But don't be too proud to say, they're not ready, I'm going to wait.
Absolutely. Let's break down from a standpoint. We currently have a puppy, and I want to know, Kat, what is your plan for training this puppy?
Isn't relevant at all.
Okay. My plan. So I have Riot. He's 6 months old. He's entered in our Kansas NAVDA test. And my goal is to run him through natural ability. And how I'm going to get him there is I'm going to have Ethan finish his collar conditioning. I'm going to have Jess, Tessa, and Charles continue working on his water introduction, tracking, but I have taken him on lots of free runs. He is a bold, confident puppy. He loves to search. He comes back most of the time, unless he doesn't want to. And he's pointed birds and back dogs already, which he doesn't have to back them in the test. So, and he loves to retrieve. So we are right on track for a test in less than 10 days. All joking aside.
That was a lot of seriousness.
All seriousness aside.
It is natural ability, and we will see it.
Yeah. And I have also done a bird introduction and gunfire introduction with him already, and
Yep,
positive
you did
pigeons.
that.
So he's done those things.
Pointing
biggest
is not a
thing-
problem.
No, it's not. The biggest thing that we do have right now to work on is you're going to have to play some fancy games to get him to come back to you unless we finish this recall work,
And even
which
then,
we're going to record. He'll be fine until he's not. We're going to...
he is a splash puppy.
We're going to actually be videoing tomorrow, pending life, his collar conditioning for recall session. Put it on the calendar, so it is, in fact,
Scheduled.
law now.
We've got a plan.
We have a plan. So we're going to be working on that. He is operating on a more natural ability type of training style. He's had a lot of exposure to a lot of things, and he's doing a really good job. So we are now spending time collectively. We have a team. That's important. And we're spending time on the things that he specifically needs. Now, I do want to caveat his biggest weak point that is going to get him in the most trouble currently is his ability to swim, which is not there yet. It's
And
not
that ha-
non-existent, but
And
it's
that
not there
hasn't
yet.
been due to anything other than
It's cold.
weather
Exposure.
and exposure
yeah.
opportunities, because
Yeah.
he is literally just 6 months old, and we've only had some nice warm weather in the last week and a half-ish.
Absolutely.
And the water hasn't really gotten there yet. So he's been hesitant about the water, but he's gotten in, waded around now. We're just trying to get him to break over and start swimming. So I think he can do it once he's
And
comfortable doing it.
he didn't
He'll-
really have, like today, he didn't have a reason, and he was still in the water. So for no reason at all, he was out walking around and splashing. And, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
Generally, if they don't like the water, they're not going to do that. So he had a lot of puppy fun today.
That's what he needs to. So he's a puppy.
But this would be an example of if leading up to test day and you can't get him to swim, what would the plan be?
If he's not swimming by the time we go to test him, I'm going to pull him from the test and forfeit his entry fee, because I'm not going to hope and wish that magically on test day he ends up swimming. And I know he's fully capable of it. It's just a matter of timelines, and getting the enough exposure and opportunities to get him to swim. And I'd rather him to perform well at a test, which I know he's capable of doing, than to go and not prize because he refuses to swim that day.
Yeah, and we are testing his natural ability, but I would say that he has an abundance of it. So it's not like some dogs need more exposure than others, and I would say he's had a lot of exposure, but he also does have a pretty good pile of natural ability, which also helps.
The other side of it that can be missed in this conversation, like we're talking, we would pull the dog or we would do whatever. You may be thinking, well, I don't even know what the test looks like or what to expect or how to even know if I'm prepared to run the dog. And first of all, we have YouTube videos that show as close as is physically possible to exactly what
YouTube videos.
a natural ability and utility test look like. So please check those out. You're on our YouTube channel now, so it shouldn't be that difficult to find. They are labeled by NAVDA, Natural Ability Test.
Each one's broken down. I think
To
it's labeled
the
by
water
field,
phase.
water, and track.
I don't
each
know the
separate
exact
videos.
titles for them.
I think it's like NAVDA, NA water, or NA field, NA track, NA water. And the track is probably, for the puppy one, is probably the
Correct.
coolest because it's shot with a drone.
You can see
It's
her
overlay.
working and the pheasant where it went.
Yep, there's a line drawn where the pheasant went. You can see the pheasant running pretty far ahead of her and see her work.
A great example of her using her nose to find the bird. And
an example of a puppy that needed refocused.
yeah,
So
because
it's
she didn't
not
start
perfect.
well.
It's
Yes.
not perfect,
And
but it ends very well.
And that's a big part of what we tried to do with the videos. We're going to it's an attempt. It's on the schedule. Hopefully, it makes it happen. To shoot that here in May, which doesn't help anybody. It'll take a little while to get processed and go through. Doesn't help anybody yet, but to reshoot those and just take another stab at them to make a more available content. But
especially now that there is a new test in NAVDA, the gun dog test, it would be very valuable, I think, to show those pieces of the test now as well.
But can your puppy swim? Pretty straightforward. Can your puppy run around a field and point a bird? Also fairly straightforward if you just read. But your dog has to do the track portion. It's hard to visualize what that looks like until you've been there and done it or seen it happen. And so that's what we tried to do with the video side of things. So
same with the utility test portion, the duck search. I think that offered, especially because we had multiple dogs.
We did that one specifically different.
So you could see what a mediocre, still working on training.
Busy duck search, but not a very good one.
Perfect duck search. And then what a really good duck search looks like. So you got to see a comparison and the contrast there between the two. And I think that the duck search is one that you can read about it, but it's really valuable to be able to visualize what we're talking about in the rule book.
Why we specifically wanted to have those two different searches, because every other utility video, it just shows, I think every video is Thunder. It just shows the dog doing the task, and it shows him if he makes a mistake or needs to be handled. It shows all of that, but specifically in the duck search, we wanted to show. It's very easy we always joke, it's easy to judge a 0 and a 4. So we wanted to show more of that, like, middle ground, and what a dog is still working. He never, in that video, Thunder never stops working. He's always looking, he's always searching, but he's just lacking a little bit. So I know we got off on a little bit of a tangent, but I think that is a fantastic video to watch, to see two duck searches.
Because I think Arrow was the other dog who's a VC, so has obviously already done the utility stuff to the utmost level that she can, became a versatile champion. So we were able to utilize her to contrast what a really good duck search should look like, and why just being busy like Thunder is good, but he needed more, and you could see what the more was by Arrow's demonstration.
Yeah, it's just, and that's the big thing I think that in utility that people don't understand is like, well, my dog never quit. Well, it doesn't. That doesn't mean necessarily.
That doesn't mean a 4.
So, those are really, I really liked that video series. I'm very, very happy with them, and we can only make them better. So.
Exactly.
Absolutely. So we've talked a little bit about puppy testing. We mentioned some things about the videos that do include the utility test. And what I would like to hear, or what I'd like to kind of go over is really the progression if you are looking at advanced stuff. So the puppy side of things, we've kind of talked just a smidgen about our puppy in the plan. We don't know your puppy, so hopefully you can start throwing some questions in there as well. But with our advanced dogs, you mentioned there are several dogs running. Let's talk about this spring, what the training progression was, and what happens if they don't fit, if they don't pass. Where are we going from there? What do the dogs need leading up to the event here in a very short period of time?
Specifically, the dogs that are going to Illinois came out of Texas. I kind of stopped running them in braces. Dogs are pretty good contextually. They understand that there's coveys, 4 gunners, my brace mate, the cocker, and then all of a sudden you start pulling some of those pieces back, and they.
So these are for the master dogs.
Yeah, for the master dogs.
And these are dogs that were guiding Steady to Wing Shot and Fall down in Texas for 4 months.
Yep.
And I know that you and Ethan recently did a podcast. It just went out on Monday.
Yep.
Was that just yesterday? Oh my gosh, this week has kind of flown by. But you guys talked in pretty good detail about how that their first test went, and
for anyone that doesn't know, the Standing Stone podcast, available anywhere you can get your pods caught,
including the YouTube.
Yes, and it is available on YouTube. But we did a recap of hunt test weekend, and plan to do another one for this upcoming weekend, if at all possible. But we were talking about master dogs. What are you doing on, like? So you're talking where they were, how they're coming out of hunting season in the fall, which is a little bit different from what other people are explaining.
Right. And so most people are, I know when was not doing this professionally. I did not run my dog steady wing shut fall. So coming out of hunting season, you have to tighten all of that back up. I had the privilege of having my dogs come out fairly steady, but again, they understand the difference with the cockers flushing the birds and multiple guns, and you start to see that training for utility. I saw that in Taylor. So Taylor specifically, super steady all season long. As soon as I took all of that stuff out, she goes, "Oh, this is back to when I was a puppy." It's like, no, all the same rules apply from 8 months ago when you were steadied. So specifically these master dogs, I pulled them kind of out of that guide string towards the end and just ran them in training runs to get ready to come home so that they were ready to roll. We were lucky enough, we have a lot of young dogs, so not a big deal at all to pull like Hazel and Chalk out of that. Then getting them ready for their test, the big thing was I just needed them to just get steady again, get used to all of the weird testing situations was basically the main thing that I worked on. They're very, very steady dogs.
And by the weird testing situations, so this is one thing that I want to hit on and just make very clear. People, a lot of times when they're preparing their dogs for a test, they're like, they're perfect. Like they do everything perfect. Well, it's really easy to get comfortable in that situation where the dogs do everything perfect when everything goes perfectly.
When it's one bird, one gunner, doesn't miss.
On the property that you always train on. Yep. So what we look at is, well, what happens when it doesn't go perfect? When you have a non-performing bird that you have to chase around and run around a cedar bush or chase, and then it finally runs back right underneath your dog. Well, you didn't train for that. And now they've got an opportunity for something like that to happen at a test, and they're not prepared for it. So we have to kind of throw some of the more challenging aspects of things that could happen at a test at them to see how they're going to handle it, to help them handle it, and then help them improve so that they can handle it when it comes to testing. So whether that's a strangely set up callback situation or non-performing birds, or even in your duck searches, a lot of times we don't think about, well, what happens if we have to dispatch a duck for the dog?
Yep.
And they find it. Well, now we've shot the duck. Now the duck needs to be retrieved to hand, not just, a search for 10-ish minutes.
Right.
Now we need to also train for that piece of what could happen. So it's important to think of all of the contingencies, if you will. And if you don't know, it's also one of those things. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And until you've gone to some of these tests and seen some of the crazy things that come at you, even from like a brace mate standpoint, you can't always plan for what your brace mate's going to do because you never
know.
run
or
with
their
them.
handler or so specifically my plan and how I plan out the master dog specifically is I adjust after every test. So after I have an idea of what they're going to need going into the test, if they need anything, and then, or at least what their weakness is, because they all have something. And then after the test, I look at what happened and then I decide what they need. This group of dogs specifically has been doing insanely well on the property. Like I can't take them anywhere on this property and cause them to do anything, including pivot to mark a bird that falls behind them. So the plan with them after the testing a week ago was to get off of the property. So I am headed up to Nebraska on either Wednesday night or Thursday morning, and we're going to train in Nebraska. So they will get the pleasure of riding around in the dog box for a few hours, potentially staying at a hotel, getting out, performing with multiple other people training. And then I'm driving to Illinois where the test is Friday, and we're doing it all over again on Friday. New grounds, new people, new dogs, new everything, because that is what they need. That is where they're at in their training.
Well, dogs are very place and situationally oriented. So if we pull them out of the kennel and walk out to the field every single day that they're training, that becomes very rote and very comfortable for them. But you load them in a trailer, you drive somewhere, that changes things. They get more excited. You add different dogs to the mix, different handlers, different grounds. It adds that level of excitement that they have to be able to handle and work through. And we can, it's also one of those things when dogs do really well, it's like, oh, they looked so good. But there is more value in having to make some corrections and teach them something in those situations. I don't want them to fall apart, but making a mistake that they need to be handled on, then they go, oh, we're still training.
As long as what you're doing I always say is fair. So
Yes.
whatever situation you're set up is fair. We can make almost any dog break or cause a problem. Almost.
I don't even think fair is appropriate. Fair, defining fair
for their training level.
Sure.
So what they are expected to do.
Yep.
Is make it
Expectations,
fair.
realistic expectations
Right.
for the
So-
dog's ability.
Green steady, meaning they kind of understand steady and wing shot and fall, but we're not really even ready to go run tests. We're not doing mean, unfair things.
Right.
But what ultimately happens in events are mean,
Correct.
unfair things, seemingly. So and what I mean by that would be an example. I mean, you go to flush this bird, and it somehow scoots out behind you, because no one tries to flush a bird at the dog. They try and flush it out into the field so it gets shot, and the dog can clearly see what happens. But inevitably, you go to flush that quail, it runs between your legs, runs right at the dog, flushes, hits them in the face, and then flies off. And the dog is expected to handle all of this. If it catches it. Like, I've literally had a dog standing, not move, and go and catch a bird, and then like, sorry.
Yeah.
Like, well, yeah, I guess. How do you work around this one? I don't know.
How do you train for that exactly? Not sure.
Yep. But you can, and ultimately what you have to do is set up those situations and help them to understand. Example being Piper. Love that girl to death. She was flawless when the situations were reasonable. So as long as the bird didn't fly at her, she was flawless. I mean, and yeah, she had to run. We talked about this in the podcast, so you have to go. But it was like the one dog that I've run in heat. It actually was Piper, and she runs at the end of this event. And at the end of this double event, you go through the gauntlet of
quail.
Junior hunter release, because they start putting lots out. They want puppies to be successful, but none of them are shot. There are literally quail everywhere. And I was running with the gal that has Bichelas, that also judges, that's at that Kansas City club. And she's an AKC judge, and I'm drawing a blank on her name right now. Frustrating. I'll think of it. Lynn.
I just was there
Lynn.
with her.
Okay, so super nice. She ran her dog with me, and I don't think her dog was in heat, but she was the lucky got to run with me because she had a female.
Or you might have even been a bye.
It was not. She was also under, and she was like, you know what? You owe me. We, between the two of us, I think handled 22 birds or something insane. It was just insane. And we talk about the reasons why and everything else, but so she handles this pile, and I'm talking maybe one or two were pairs or something like that. It was all just singles. 14 birds. We could not get away from them. I'm like, I'm going to go. Oh, she's on point again. Okay, let's go work another one. And she did it all. And she did it flawlessly, which is the type of dog that she is. Now, luckily, all of those birds were good flyers, and they all flew away from her, so that was important. Now, her Achilles heel, if you will, was any bird that came within a distance that she thought she could snatch. And if it came at her, she was going for it. It wasn't just, I didn't even move my feet. She's going for it. If it's in this little, I'm talking like a 18-inch bubble, Piper's going for it. So we had to work on that, and I had to push another bird at her, and push another bird at her, and push another bird at her, and push another bird at her, until she stopped going for them when they were in the bubble. Now, granted, there were birds that are going to hit her in the face, and still, also, she can't go for those until they're shot. So you have to teach those sequences, and you have to set up, like you were saying, the simple, straightforward situation that makes you feel real good about training when you get done. You're like, wow, they look perfect. We're going to go past. No, you're not, most likely. If they look perfect, you didn't have a good enough training day, that, especially leading up to an event. It means you got an understanding, not a dog that's ready to go.
My favorite fair but unfair is sending them on a missed bird retrieve.
Okay, so to break this down, this is fair but unfair. Yes.
Yep.
Bird flies away, you shoot at, boom, boom. Don't hit it, usually on purpose, because come on.
Yeah.
And it lands in the grass, and you know this bird is unscathed, and it's on quail. It's a thing. The second flight is typically better for whatever reason. They got the jitters out, and now they can fly better. So this bird is now just landed out there in the grass, short enough
They're
distance.
also not planted, and they're more wily at that point,
A little more wily, but
They're jumpier.
The dog's going to have to do some crazy stuff to be able to catch this thing. And they are now sent to go make a retrieve, fetch. They go out, and they try and catch this thing, and it takes off, okay? That now is a bird that is flying away. They have to stop to flush and stand there. They can't do anything else. That is the expectation.
Yep.
So we train that one on a regular basis, and it takes a little while for the average dog to figure that out.
We do have a super chat here. I want to
Go.
read it real quick. From Aaron, thank you for the super chat. Do you guys plan on posting things on Instagram during test day or pre-post test day? You guys are awesome, and welcome back, Charles. So we typically try and post how the test went after the test. I think that we had a post with Hazel and East and Doc from their last test for AKC, just saying how they did, which was they each got a master pass. I think with the utility and NAVDA NA tests here, I'm sure there'll be stuff on the story, just little glimpses and pieces of the test happening. Same with the seminar. There'll be things posted on the story of things happening and, going on. And then any of the results we'll typically post with handlers because we're very proud of how the dogs did, very proud of the handlers, that type of thing. But I don't necessarily know if there won't be any videoing of the dogs doing the things in the test. You're not allowed at a NAVDA test to video their duck search or video their tracks, things like that. So we won't be videoing those pieces, but people hanging out, talking at the beginning of the test, the judge's address to the handlers, that stuff, there'll be little glimpses and things like that for sure on social. Anything to add?
I generally stay pretty focused on AKC double running 5 dogs.
Right. So from a standpoint of Charles getting on social and being like, hey, the day's going really great. I got the dogs out. No, first, you don't want to jinx yourself. Second of all, you are focused. And we always joke, but not joke. I'll ruin a good dog's training situation to get a picture or a video of them. So when you take your attention off of the situation, that's when bad things can definitely happen. So I saying things like the judge's address to the handlers and little glimpses and pieces, that's going to happen here at our test because we're going to have Tessa and Jess and me and Ethan that can hop on when we're actually not handling or gunning or running a dog. I don't think either of us are judging, actually.
As of right now, no. Things change, but
things change. I don't really see it changing for me, just because I have a very specific situation. We've got a lot of our dogs running on Friday, so I can't judge them. We've got a puppy send home on Saturday, so I can't be judging. I've got to send home a litter, and I'm running dogs on Sunday, so I'm out. Charles, on the other hand, has the potential of, depending on which day, getting pulled to maybe judge. But he definitely won't be posting anything if he's judging.
I'm gunning Friday.
I think so.
Yep. I'm learning voluntold.
So, running.
And he's like, I will volunteer everyone what they're doing.
I will say that running AKC doubles, even with a dog or two, is a lot. To run 4 master dogs and a senior dog, I definitely will not. I just will not be on social media. It just won't happen.
You basically are running back from the field to switch your dogs to get back to the field. I've been there, done that. Plus having dogs to take care of and let out and potty and then redo.
And the bandwidth to remember each individual dog, how I need to handle each dog situation. The first time I ran the field, am I the first brace? There's a lot going on.
Yep.
So.
Absolutely.
And I really, really want to come home with a master hunter. So then Ethan can't finish her in
August. Someone's location gets possibly mispronounced. Did that happen this evening?
If it's Ohio, I said it exactly how it was typed. No, but that person was trying real hard. Yeah.
I don't think I mispronounced
true?
any
I don't remember who
names.
that was.
I might have had a flub where like I.
This is
but I
the
didn't.
king of bingo here, Aaron. You gotta let us know which potentially mispronounced thing
I could
happened.
have maybe. I don't know. I was reading through.
Oh,
Ooh, that probably
I
was.
said Otsego, Minnesota.
is that how
I
it's
feel like
pronounced?
you did say Otsego. Is that wrong?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
How do you say Otsego, Minnesota? Yeah, I like flubbed it, but I know it's Parachute, Colorado. That was not a like. It's not like I was like Parachute, Colorado, Parachuta, Colorado.
Speaking of
100%.
Speaking
If
of
I had
Tina,
read the check-ins, it would have lots of things would have been.
But I thought I
guaranteed
did
to be
Otsego,
mispronounced.
Minnesota, right? I even own Otsego. Oh yeah. Then I totally because I was like, I know how to say Otsego now. Yeah, totally.
Yep, bingo.
Tina, I might get to see Tina again.
We know where you live,
Moving
Aaron.
forward, I'm just gonna say
But send
Minnesota.
me a message anyway, just to make
I'm
sure
just gonna
I
be
just
like,
forward it to Logan easier. that way.
Minnesota. I'm gonna skip the city.
Brad, I like hunting quail in
town.
Iowa.
Let's talk.
Was there more than one winner? I may have just given Brad a.
Oh, that's probably second two.
Yeah.
Second two here. There's
Just
lots of
he
questions.
was just going for it in case Aaron
Some people
was
will post
disqualified.
on there like, "What you guys drinking tonight?"
I
Because
know, I
then
was waiting for
there's a like gin cocktail or a bourbon or whatever. Because you're drinking a bourbon, I think tonight.
I am.
Yes. You guys are too good
But
at
no,
this.
there's no non-alcoholic drinks on deck tonight.
He was guessing. This is tequila.
Tonight,
Da, 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 da.
Ethan couldn't be let out. Let out.
Yeah, it's
what's
been
that called?
non-alcoholic on deck has been me for a long time.
Left
but tonight felt like a tequila night.
Well, with
because
that tequila, it's hard not
why
to.
not? Yes. I tried the other stuff first, and I was like, I see the top of that bottle of the Southern Terminal front.
Oh, you picked the better tequila than
Yes.
the tequila we had.
That there's no comparison.
That stuff is ridiculously good.
Good job, Annie.
Winner.
So, guys, we've talked a lot about spring training goals and plans and having a timeline and not having a timeline and those sort of things. We do have an online course that literally lays out how we raise our puppies from 8 weeks to a year old in general. I mean, Riot's probably a little like off his game, but he has been very well socialized.
He's on track with the course. Come on.
He's a little behind his collar conditioning.
How old is he?
6 months old.
Oh yeah, he's behind.
Yeah.
But we love him. And life happens, and we totally understand that happens.
It
And
also hasn't been an issue, so it makes it.
until
Yeah.
like 2 weeks ago, and
Yeah.
I'm like, this puppy needs to be collar conditioned, and now he's being collar conditioned. See, but when you don't always, sometimes you get a puppy, and you're like, I want to take my puppy hunting. That is your goal, right? You're like, my end goal is to go hunting with my puppy. But sometimes you don't know what you don't know. You don't know how to get there. You're like, well, what does my puppy need to know before they go hunting? Well, we do have a video on the prerequisites that we have to take a puppy hunting, which is
Yes.
a minimum of I say collar condition to recall, but a consistent, reliable recall, bird introduction, gunfire introduction, and an intro to pointing birds would be really nice.
No. Minimums. Yep, you
but
named the three.
the three
bare minimums. And I will tell you,
To go
I have
hunting
taken-
with yourself and your puppy.
Yes, yep, to
I
get
have
exposure.
taken a lot of dogs guiding with those minimums. Okay,
Shock.
lots of them. I don't know.
But so
Not anymore.
Sometimes not anymore. Charles is like, I'm not allowing it.
No, I set that line last year. They need to be able to heal as well.
Yeah, he added healing to the bare minimums.
well,
For
from a
guiding.
safety
For-
guiding
yeah,
standpoint, that makes sense.
And you were very nice. You said, like, just don't pull me on a leash. So
yeah, see.
She did fine.
She likes to pull. She's like her mama. She's got lots of muscles. But anyway, so
Yeah.
sometimes you don't know what you don't know. Like, how do I get from point A to point B? How do I go from puppy to a hunting dog. Well, yes, you know now what your prerequisites are, but still, how do you approach those prerequisites? I'm not necessarily going to just throw an e-collar on Riot and push the button and be like, now your collar conditioned, now you've got a reliable recall. There were multiple steps, which I did do myself leading up to that. I'm not just being like handing off all his training goals to people. I did all of his basic obedience myself with clicker training and positive reinforcement. And that's how we start everything, which is laid out in the course. But if you don't know what you don't know, you can reach out to us on Patreon, and we're going to help you make a plan to reach those goals, whether you've got an 8-week-old puppy, an 8-month-old puppy, an 8-year-old dog. We can help you, and we will help you lay out a plan and then help hold you accountable to that plan, because you get out of your training what you put into it. So if you have somebody saying, where are you at with training? How have things been going? Have you met these goals? That's a way that we can help be a resource for you to get to those goals and lay out a path to reach those prerequisites and things that you're going to need to take your puppy hunting.
I'm going to pull up.
Dorito, I would say treat your puppy like a puppy. And let them show you if they're going to point or not. That cross can point or cannot point. So it is a lab GSP cross.
I really, really hope you named your dog Dorito. That would be such a cute name for a puppy. I'm like, Mike, gonna steal it.
You gotta get a good registered name with that, though.
Oh, I'm the queen of registered names.
I'm just making sure with Dorito. But that's what I would approach it, just like any other hunting dog puppy, and I would let the puppy show me if it's going to be a pointing or a flushing puppy.
It'll have to be an El Tesoro dog as well. Standing Stone's El Tesoro nacho cheese. I don't think it fits. Not your cheese. Okay, maybe. Let's see here.
She's jolloping your business.
Hey, Standing Stone's
a-
El Tesoro Cool Ranch.
Oh,
Oh,
we got to run that one up the ladder.
Oh, that's not bad.
We
It's
gotta
gotta
run
be a
that one up the
cocker.
ladder. It has to be a
Has
cocker.
to be. Has
Yes,
to be.
Cool Ranch, and we can call him Dorito.
I love it.
Okay, because cockers get silly names because they're cute.
We got
and-
Pecos and Dorito and, Trip. It's fine.
Hatchet.
Yep.
Hatchet.
I wouldn't say Bella's, but she came with that name. She came with
with
it
the
from the
frame.
queen.
But it is very fitting.
Yeah,
for a queen.
she's a royalty.
Yeah, it should be Bella. That's
Everybody
a
else
perfect
is
name.
not royalty.
No, they are peasants.
Yes.
Peasant cockers.
Yeah, they will.
They're
be
really
as
nice
good,
cockers,
if not
but-
better. But they are peasants
But
in
they're
comparison.
peasants.
I want to sort of hold this up because you were talking about it just quickly. I'm going to make this cut. We should be on the computer now.
We don't-
You are.
Oh, you can see from there?
Yeah, I told him we need to put a monitor up right there.
That'd be great.
We can do that.
We have the
We have the
monitor.
monitor.
Yeah, it's right
over
there.
And you
Right
can just
over there.
Mount
kind
it.
of not stare at it, but it'll be there to see.
So broken out in weeks. This is a little sneak peek.
Ooh.
Little sneak preview. There we go. Put the words together. Week 1 of training. So you have obedience goals, developmental goals, and complementary goals for each week along. Give specific videos. And this was a question that was brought up that people were confused about with the process. Once you learn things in week 1, you can continue them through the entirety, but we don't put all of the things repeated that you would repeat as you go through each week. So you work through this. It finishes all the way up into week 33 of training, gives you a duration of approximate time. You're into...
That's going to be your trained retrieve.
Yeah, the trained retrieve is a great finishing point for developing the perfect retriever. And at the bottom of every lesson, you have a shopping list based on what you will need for that specific week. You have a sample training routine, what you can do to break things out. Journal, that is a pro tip for anybody that is training a dog. It's hard to remember what you did from day to day, how the dog performed, so on and so forth. So here's just a basic printed out. You've got a little journal page to keep track of what you did and how it went. And then finally, a training checklist just to keep you on track. Most importantly, in the course, you do get a discount to these schedule a video consult setups. They're good to do here and there throughout your puppy development.
Highly recommend doing them during the trained retrieve process, though.
Yes.
Checking in weekly.
The recommendation is weekly here. That's why they are short and discounted even more. You can pick the day that works for you, scroll through, book multiple of them at a time. Gives you availability for everything. So that is just a brief sneak peek, and we will go back there.
Free pro tip. You're taking too long on your trained retrieve.
Yeah. Almost always.
Whatever it is, you're taking too long.
Yeah, and the folks that do follow the videos that are very well done with varying levels of Ethan's mustache.
They're all indoors?
Fun. Those are all the indoor
in the
ones.
course. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
The outdoor ones really got the...
If you want to go back, you can go sort the YouTube videos by oldest, not most popular, and you can find some of the originale, Ethan's mutton chops, bad hair. I was also 15 years younger. And, but the good videos, I, for whatever reason, thought, you know what, these videos are going to be here forever. Let's do random facial hair through the entire thing because I can.
Why not?
Yep. So we have the mustache heavy beard. We have a straight mustache. There's a Fu Manchu. There is a handlebar like a, not Wolverine. I did the Wolverine, and then I also did the opposite. What's his brother or cousin? Saber-tooth, maybe, where it's like just the chin is, and then it's all of this that kind of goes up into the, did it all that I could. So it's there for your viewing pleasure.
Well, here's a quick question.
Oh, you got a super chat. Jump to that one.
Okay. Do I just click that button?
Just-
And it goes to, nope.
Nope,
Just
don't
That's
do
not
that.
how I do it.
Wrong.
Scroll.
Up at the top.
That?
Click that.
If I click that,
Yep.
there we go. Okay. My wife says you should have a chip litter, and she said the cool ranch name you came up with, Kat, is awesome. Name ideas: Cheeto, Frito, Lay's, Dorito, Pringle, Ruffles, Bugle. I like it.
Okay, so we are going to have a cocker litter in the future. Don't know when that'll be.
It
we will use this.
happen.
This will be perfect.
Perfect.
And then we'll have to steal the name Dorito for the
Love it.
puppy.
Give it the heart,
Oh.
in the words of Aiden. Click on it.
Oh, yeah, he likes heart.
He likes to heart everything.
I can
Click
like it.
You can like
Like
it?
it? No.
you
Oh,
can't,
I
but
can
you
heart
can
it.
heart it.
I hearted it. Okay, cool.
Thank you
Okay.
for the super chat.
Thank you. So there was a question right here from Nicholas Argyrakis.
Someone's name gets
Sorry.
probably mispronounced.
Sorry, I tried really hard. With regard to
not on the bingo
spring
card.
training testing, have you seen any
Yeah.
examples of dogs losing pointing intensity with training pigeons and pen-raised birds versus wild birds? That is a great question. No. What I do see dogs losing intensity is with mishandling of them pointing those birds.
Correct.
So what I mean by mishandling those is when we typically get our puppies initially pointing on pigeons and launchers. But if we expect them to hold point for too long when they're still unsure of their purpose, they're like, boom, slammed point, because they don't even really know why. Their natural ability made them do
Right.
it. And then we're like, ooh, that's really cool. Let me get my camera out. Let me take a picture. Let me walk around them. Let me do all these things. And then the puppy's like, okay, I did this thing, and I don't really know why I did this thing, but I did it, and now I'm really uncertain of why I did it, and this person is walking around, and they're doing really weird things, and we don't reinforce them soon enough with the pigeon that they then get to chase, then they can lack some confidence, and then therefore intensity. You watch that letdown happen. You can see it in their tail. You can see it in their demeanor, their shoulders, their head, all the things. So just launch the bird. Have somebody else videoing the whole situation, but just launch the bird so that you don't create some of these problems. And it can happen with other situations, but that is one of the number one things that I see is people waiting to launch those birds, to flush those birds for too long with young dogs that are still learning their purpose.
Now, on the opposite end of that spectrum, when you get into dogs that are working through advanced testing and training goals,
Different.
it is different, but you can see the potential, again, if it's being done improperly, you can see that potential of letdown. And that's a sign that it's a sign that there is confusion and or mishandling and or unfair expectations. So we
Generally,
talked about
overpressure.
yeah.
And again, I
to
truly
say it-
feel like it comes back to mishandling
Yeah.
and misreading the situation and putting pressure, whether that's just pressure of time, waiting too long
Or
on the dog.
so the other side of that, and this is what I've seen specifically, first-hand experience here, a dog that lacked those kind of gets in the.
She got a little. I felt a little aggressive. I don't know. Maybe not.
She poured from her heart,
She
Charles,
did.
and you asked her for it. So
I will drink it.
beggars can't be choosers.
So what I was getting at, those dogs that lack experience. If you start moving into the advanced stuff, we talked about plans. We talked about things. For us personally, there's the Reader's Digest version. You can take a puppy. So this would be a dog in our program. The puppy runs through puppy development stuff. That is learning how to point birds. They run their natural ability test somewhere in there. They are then WOW trained and they're collar conditioned. And this is not exact chronological order, but they're doing all of these things that involve collar conditioning through WOW training, pointing birds, getting birds shot over them. Now they're ready to take hunting, essentially. They learn a lot through the hunting season. I cannot stress enough, if you have the ability to make it happen, wild birds are the best. If you don't, you go to a preserve. Fantastic. Ask them to let the birds go, not dizzy them, tuck them in bushes. Let them go. And then understand that if you want to shoot 3 birds, have them release 6 to 9. If you want to shoot 10 birds, have them release 30. Know that you're not going to find them all, and that's a good thing. They should be out there. They should be wily. They should be hard for your young dogs to find. That's going to make them more wild-like. After they finish that first season, ideally now this is a dog that is anywhere between 8 months and a year and a half, depending on when they were born. They've rolled through their first season. Now they have a lot of experience, but if they don't, let's say you only made it to the preserve once or twice, and then you saw 6 birds, okay? Just because they are a year older does not mean that they have the level of experience to move to the next level.
Because they really need that experience to truly understand what their job and their purpose is. Otherwise,
Correct.
they still have some uncertainty and some confusion, especially because we can't train them for every situation that they're going to run into when it comes to actually hunting. So exposure and experience matters.
We had a dog first hand came here. So this is why I'm saying I know the dog was not overpressured because I did the training. Showed them. We just start to take away the chase. You no longer get the opportunity to have the fun part of this, which is chasing birds and things of that nature. And as we pull that away in a very low to non-existent pressure way, she just let down. She was like, man, this is no longer.
And I know who you're talking about. And I don't really feel I saw a letdown in intensity on pointing, but we couldn't get her to retrieve because she was so naturally steady, lacked a little prey drive. She didn't get enough actual hunting exposure. As soon as we took that retrieve away during the advanced testing and training scenario, she was like, oh, okay, I'm cool with not having to make those retrieves because I don't really love to do it anyway. And I didn't do enough of it in hunting season to gain a little more drive for it. And so she just stood there.
And she didn't stop pointing, but she did lose intensity in that process a little bit. So
Is it the one I took to North Dakota?
No.
No.
Oh.
No.
I think it might have been before your time, Charles.
Like
Yeah.
all the way before?
No.
like
Before your time here.
middle zone.
The
So,
middle.
Anyhow, our dogs do get the luxury, if you will, of having lots of wild bird exposure. Everywhere from the Dakotas to Kansas to Texas, they get to
North
see
Dakota, Iowa, you
baj-
take them to.
a bajillion, zillion, quadrillion birds. They get to see a lot. So when they come out of that first season, whether they are in that approximately year to year and a half category, they then move into steady wing shot fall training, not with the intentions of pushing them through testing that spring or summer. It is with, you now have a quote unquote slow road to experiencing this, learning this process so that you fully understand it, and there are no negative effects to it. You also learn duck search at the same time. So there is a give and take in learn to be adventurous and explore on your own, and at the same time, learn a little bit of steadiness things. Too much of one or the other before the other creates problems both ways. So getting the opportunity to learn both. Now, the ones that excel then go on and run utility, and they may do that late summer or in that after that training year, or they may do it the next spring.
Doc's a perfect example of that.
He
was barely 2 when he ran utility.
Yeah,
but he was not pressured in any way. He just did it.
Well, and that's why everybody should love a Doc. He is a absolutely
I agree.
amazing young dog.
Yeah.
He is the El Tesoro medicine man. Absolutely amazing young dog for that program. So,
but it's also why his very similarly aged dogs that came through this at the same time with him are not running master.
Correct.
Taylor
Not
and
every
Vale
dog is
are
ready for
younger. They weren't quite there. We even looked at them in guiding and said, well, let's just kind of play them out.
See,
If we need to pull them, we'll pull them, because they are 2. They're young.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then we will take, dogs that have the opportunity to learn those things through another hunting season, which would involve potentially, depending on exactly where they're at, are they excelling at steadiness work, or they maybe need a little additional time? If they need additional time, they come and lead the pack in the guiding world. And then if they are doing well or on the edge of doing really well, they then head to Texas to be steady wing shot and fall on the ranch.
And when you say they head the guiding program, that's on non-steady hunting.
Correct.
In South Dakota on pheasants and grouse.
Break and wing.
They do different things.
Hunt and ditch chickens.
Different purposes, different dogs. Or not different dogs, but different purposes. And so you handle the dogs differently. So
And I think specifically tying back into seeing letdown, the way we train steadiness removes a lot of the association with odor and the pressure of the bird. So by the time you put them on a bird, they really understand.
Yeah.
I don't have to move. Now, they aren't going to just go out, point the first bird in the launcher and not move a single paw unless they're legacy.
Or Quest.
Which
was why Legacy does it, because she's out of Quest.
Right.
Yeah.
So they are there. They're rare. But when it comes time to correct them, it's very fair. They understand it completely. You go in with the expectation, hey, I'm just launching this bird. It's going to fly away. There's no blank pistol. There's no nothing involved. And so I think that's a big part of what people that maybe don't have as many homing pigeons or don't have as much resource is that they may rush that process and start to put that pressure on a bird that's been pointed when maybe there isn't a full understanding.
And because of the resources.
Right.
That makes sense.
So sometimes just maybe a couple days to somebody that has homing pigeons can make all the difference in that process. Yeah. To tighten it up right then and there, removed from odor, removed from pointing. And then when they go back to pointing, they have the confidence to understand what they're doing and to know what to do.
We have a lot of videos about this process, but we are putting the course together. It's on the list, folks.
Advanced steadiness, yeah.
Yes, it is coming to show our
If only
process.
I was a web designer. That would make the process a lot easier. So not only am I having to be a dog trainer and like a lesson planner and a teacher, then I have to figure out how to actually design the course.
And a mom somewhere in there.
Well, yeah, that too. I wear hats. But honestly, if I could figure out the web designing a little easier, it would go faster.
Though I don't describe the process as perfect, it is a really good way and probably one of the best ways to teach steadiness to a dog. Now, we move into, so these dogs that are in this 2-ish to 3-year-old zone, depending on where they're at, they run utility. And then once they crest the 3 mark, that is typically the earliest that I see dogs go through master hunter tests, because it takes a different level of their ability for their brain to work. after 3, they usually are mentally mature enough to excel in the master level side of things. So before that, I've actually finished a dog at 18 months old. She made some mistakes and dumb ones, things that she shouldn't have made. Vex, one of my favorite dogs that I ran. You got to run him. Kat got to run him. An absolutely amazing dog. He was a dog when I finished him out that you would go out there and you had no jitters. You felt confident. You just let him go.
That was crazy because I was used to running Nicks.
Yeah.
Which was the opposite of calm and collected.
Yeah, he just flipped you the bird and said, hold on,
Hold
mama.
on. Hang on tight.
See what nixer you get.
Yes. Yeah. No, you always knew what nicks you got. He was a jerk most of the time. So he's a lot of dog. But the thing about it, though, is Vex specifically, when I finished him out, it was almost like a calming effect. You send him loose, and it's like, let's go find another one. This is just going to
be enjoyable.
This is kind of fun. Let's go
Ian
show off.
Ian handled him, too. Yeah. And Ian loved handling him.
You just put a smile on. You look at me and my dog. He's cool. Not very many dogs I can say that.
I was nervous.
Well, you can be nervous. That's fine.
I think you were also nervous because he wasn't necessarily your dog. He was your boss's dog, and it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I will say, of all of the dogs I've ran in utility, in the field, I did not. It was the easiest, carefree.
Yes.
Like literally, I was going to turn around to go to him, and he was going to be exactly where I left him. I didn't even have to think about it.
Didn't have to think about it, and that's it. And the same dog, I tried to run him in the barely 2 category, and he went 1 for like 6.
He was not ready.
He made dumb mistakes. They were handled 2 or 3 birds clean, and then he would hop on a honor, or just dumb things. And I was like, meh. We went 2 weekends, a double. And I got a pass, and then we went a double. I don't think I went 0 for 4, but I might have.
I think you got 2 passes on him.
Yeah.
Like
2.
One the first weekend.
One, and then a 1 for 3. And I was like, nah, not running him anymore. He's not mentally ready. I don't need to. In order to get past this, it gives you this pressure standpoint of like, I need to apply more pressure because he's making these mistakes. Nah, not the answer. Just took the rest of the summer off for him. We went hunted, had a good time. Came back to it, and then nothing really changed. I just said, okay, be steady. And he's like, I got you.
Mentally mature enough to handle that thought process.
And
then.
all that happened was age at that point. So it's important not to rush the process. Move at the pace of the dog. That's that's how you prevent major issues and things like that.
Yep.
There was a couple
another one.
Yeah, there was another question. Let's see if we can roll through a couple really quick.
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Long way.
Well, it's a very common. It's a very common question and a very common thing that you see happen. People say, well, before my dog was steady, they never wagged it. They never flagged.
Yeah.
And
flagged, or they just
I've
look
seen
like
dogs
crap.
lay down on point, sit on
laying
point.
down is a goofy
like
one because there's some variance in that, but typically it's a next question.
Next
we'll
question.
talk about
That
that
gets real deep.
So there is a question from E.L. Howard. I have a 5-year-old GSP, never hunted, and not put through a training program. Is it too late to start him? So,
No.
I know the answer to this.
No. Short answer, no. Long answer, also no.
No.
But we worked with a 10-year-old short hair.
There's the long
Like
answer.
Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio. Okay.
We worked with a 10-year-old dog that had never had any formal training. He had been hunting, but he had never had any formal training at all, just taken hunting, like not even collar condition, just here's this dog, and he's a short hair, so I'm taking him hunting. And we got him in, and we did all the formal pieces at 10 years old. So 5 years old, absolutely not too old to start. I will just caveat, you can teach an old dog new tricks. Sometimes it just takes longer. So when I typically tell people blank slate puppies, very, young, that haven't had a lot of experience to learn anything yet, typically we expect 3 to 4 months of training. With an older dog, I would expect a little bit more time from a baggage standpoint, depending what their baggage is, their behaviors, their conditioned behaviors. We may have to overcome a little bit of that. But if they love to retrieve, we got a great start there. If they have been birdie and point and Chi-Chi birds in the backyard. Got a great start there. We can develop those already good things into...
The Wi-Fi Oracle says, a Chi-Chi bird is a standing stone verbiage for any songbird that comes out there that is not a game bird.
Nice. Older dogs always throw something at you. There's always some weird thing.
They've developed a habit for.
Easy to work through.
But my recommendation would be, again, our training course still applies. Start at the beginning, work through the steps. The more your dog knows, the faster you move through the process. Just don't follow the weeks per se. Follow the steps, move through it at the dog's pace, and because they're older, typically they're going to move quite a bit faster, but it's going to prevent you from having holes. So,
Troy, thank you so much for the reference. He said the training program's awesome. As someone who's never trained a dog, followed it from 8 weeks to 2.5 years, and it made it so easy. Well, we're really glad for that. That was the goal when we created it. So, Dorito, I just wanted to say, so you have the lab short hair mix. I know that you've mentioned that their dog, not named Dorito, named Brandy. I saw that also commented.
I was like, wait a second. Did you just call a guy Dorito?
I think so.
That's his name. I think that's how you say it, right?
He, she,
maybe
him,
Dorito. Dorito. Anyway,
Okay.
like Charles had mentioned, we don't necessarily know if they're going to necessarily want to be a flushing dog or a pointing dog naturally. So it's a matter of evaluating what they naturally want to do and then working on that natural instinct to bring it out. So, and I wouldn't say that it's an unpopular mix because I saw it's an unpopular mix. Once you develop or determine which natural instinct it has, flushing or pointing, then you can pick one of the courses and one of the playlists and things like that to follow along with that either directs you down the pointing course, versatile dog, or down the flushing retrieving course, which is more of the flushing breed. And it's not an unpopular breed. I've seen tons of lab short hair mixes, lab pointer mixes, and you just don't know what they're going to do, whether they're going to want to point or they're going to want to flush. So we just got to figure that out. I would say, I don't want to, would you say that they're typically more pointing? I would say
shorter lap process.
More pointing.
I think that we know how to develop dogs to
point,
lean towards pointing. So you can influence them if they have it. You can drag it out a little bit.
Yeah, we have worked with labs that aren't a mix that point and or didn't point, but their owners wanted them to point. So then we taught them to point. So it can be done.
I would say unless you have a really strong preference, you just let the puppy show you what it is.
Let them decide exactly.
Yeah. Somebody called and asked me about
Yes, Aaron, I did like that pour.
Short hair.
The Worth Pack. Training my first GSP and first hunting dog.
2-finger pour.
A shock
I'm aware.
Puppy named. This is a shock hex puppy. Okay. Listen up.
All right, we're listening.
Last question. We are way over the time.
Into the live.
Shock hex puppy named Tango, and there seems to not be enough time before her first season or NA test for her to learn enough.
Well, for the hunting season aspect of things, you have plenty of time. And you still have time to book the hunt to come with me, and I will bring the hex puppy that we have, and they can hunt together.
Don't chase perfection, though. You have a puppy. Yeah. So don't think that everything is going to be exceptionally perfect, even for your test.
The NA test timeline may be, depending on exactly when it is, you may run out of time. Big things that we
ran
like
out of time with Bet.
Yeah.
It happened. Yeah. She was entered in a test. She was
on the ground.
She was at the test with her sister Duel. We raised litter mates. Never again.
Oh, thank God she said it out loud. It's here.
I've said it multiple times out loud, and it's been recorded.
And he put it on the calendar.
To find it. But Bet got really sick. She was having...
Chisel it in stone, please.
She was not in a position to run her test and perform well.
Yeah, she was sick.
It wasn't even that she was vomiting, but she also...
She was so dumpy and lethargic. She had low energy. Again, we talked about, hey, if your dog isn't ready, pull them. If your dog is sick and to the point where they cannot perform, pull them. Don't try and do that. That's, their health and well-being is more important. So we pulled her, dual ran.
Something happened. I don't know.
We did blood work. We did all these things. She completely recovered. And so I was like, I'm going to enter her. I'm going to enter her in the Kansas test. And I sent over the stuff to Annie, and Annie's like, Bet's too old. And I was like, what? And I'm like, oh, dang it, Bet's too old.
Should have brought her down to the ranch.
I know. So she aged out, and I'm like, well, I missed that opportunity, but that's okay. It's an NA test. It's natural ability. She has bigger and better things to do with her life, bigger fish to fry, and we'll do more with her, but she missed out on that opportunity. So if ultimately you can't get an NA test done because they're not ready for any number of reasons and they age out, it's not the end of the world.
It is not. But key thing is if you have exposed, and that's a horrible way to say that. If the dog has seen birds and had opportunities to point and shown that, and had opportunities to swim and shown some of that, and had opportunities to track and shown some of that, then yes, go run them.
And some gunfire, because there is some gunfire, so that's important.
Yeah,
Make sure
those things are okay, maybe not perfect. It is okay to run. Earlier I was talking about make sure your dog is ready. I'm saying make sure that they've had experience with all of the things. They're not going to be perfect. So,
yep. And we had an international check-in. Kaylin Kelly made it
from
Alberta with Coors, she's coming to the seminar as well, which is really awesome.
There was one earlier that said good morning, so I'm pretty sure they were international.
Oh, I missed the good morning. But yes, that would most likely be international because it is not morning here.
Last announcement of the evening. I just got word yesterday that the bottles are bottled and they are on the way. So we should have, we may have bourbon by the seminar. If you are not coming for anything else, just be on the list.
I'll make sure it's good before we...
Be there or be square for the seminar.
Oh, you have it?
It's right there.
We have the sample.
I have the
sample.
Yeah.
We'll turn this all off and then we can try that.
And sample.
But thank you all for joining us. This was really fun. I hope you all enjoyed as well. It was fun to have Charles involved in this. We need to get Jessica here as well.
Absolutely.
And we just have to make her work longer. Why not?
Be like, you want to go home at 1 o'clock? Sorry, stay around till 7 o'clock.
I go home and come back. It's fine. I got to get Annie.
Who sits over there and hides.
Yes. All that being said, we appreciate you. The guy with the pink gun.
Kat the dog trainer.
And just Charles for now.
Just Charles. We'll see you all in the next one.
You could be Charles in charge.
No, you can just be just.